Gillette, the best a man can get.
First things first, I'm Jen Wolf. That's the Hall of Famer Chris Carter. This right here is Nick Wright. We are in a great mood on this Thursday morning here in New York City. Jam-packed show. Got some football. Aaron Rodgers is out to prove why he's the best at what he does. Kawhi Leonard has his eyes set on taking down the Lakers, and Baker Mayfield doesn't care if you like him as long as the Browns are winning. That's where we start this morning's show in Cleveland. Hey, Baker's never been one to shy away from the limelight. He loves it. It loves him. From winning the Heisman to being selected first overall by the Browns. And with more hype surrounding his team than ever before, he is once again not shying away from who he is, saying, quote, "I'm going to be myself and believe in that. And if you don't like it, that's okay." See, what do you expect out of Baker Mayfield in year two? You talk so much about the transition between year one and year two for the football player. What are you looking for from Baker?
Typically, especially in those young years, year 1 to 2, year 2 to 3, you expect the learning curve to be drastic. You expect them to be so, because there's so much more information. But the best part of information is if you've been out there with live bullets on the field. That's when you start to see that guys start to understand what the coaches are saying, what's the scheme, and then you know something? Well, let's just put some better personnel around it. So Baker, what he'll have this year, he'll have the experience of starting a half a season. He'll have the experience of playing in highly contested games. He'll have the experience of, you know something? I'm familiar with 3 or 4 of my targets. Now, we know that they've added OBJ. We know later on they're going to get Kareem Hunt at the midway point in the season. But Baker, we should expect more than we saw last year because that's what NFL players do, especially the quarterbacks. The game, don't misinterpret this. The game's going to get a lot easier for him than it was last year. You have to understand, coming from Oklahoma, even as good as he was, it's not pro football. And we have seen a lot of quarterbacks, the speed of the game, the pace of the game, the physicality, and I don't have a lot of space to throw to. Those things bother young quarterback. But Baker is very accurate. He's got a big-time arm, even though he's a smaller quarterback from a body structure. But I'm expecting great. If they can run the ball, which they were able to do last season. When Baker took over, the biggest difference was running the ball and keeping him clean. The last 9 games of the season, one of the best offensive lines that we've seen from a pass protection and the ability to be able to run the ball. That's important. You can't come back this year and have Baker get sacked 30 times because the learning curve, no one learns from people in their face. All right, so I expect Baker to do big things this year. I expect him, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, the weapons they have to be one of the best groups. But I believe that the unsung hero is going to be their defense. I believe they're going to have a top 10 defense. They're going to shock a lot of people. They're going to get after the quarterback. And from a secondary standpoint, Nick, I know you're impressed with some of the guys that they have on that side of the ball.
Well, I mean, their ability, we were talking before the show, if they get a lead, you have Denzel Ward, who I believe to be a true shutdown corner in this league. He was drafted as such. And then to rush the passer with Myles Garrett and Olivier Vernon. Though Myles Garrett's rookie year, they never had a lead. He could never get after the passer in that regard. And last year, it wasn't until the second half of the season when they started playing really quality football, really post Hughes firing.
Another point about Myles Garrett, watch for him to take off. Last year had 13.5 sacks under Greg Williams' defense. People respect Greg Williams. He's moved on to the Jets. Now they have Steve Wilks, and the staff is talking about his overall versatility. In his first 2 years there with Greg Williams, he was only allowed to make 2 different moves when he was rushing. Okay. And typically when you get a younger player, you want him to be decisive and fast. That's what Greg Williams now. Steve Wilks is opening up to him. I wouldn't be surprised if he approached 20 sacks this year, Dick.
Okay, so let's put this all together, though. So if they have the defense that we both think they can have, we know the skill position guys on offense, an offensive line that over the final 6 games of last season allowed 3 total sacks, and a quarterback as talented as Baker Mayfield. What is that? That's a team that absolutely should make the playoffs and potentially win some playoff games. What Russell Wilson, what'd he do on a really good team in year 2? Won the Super Bowl. Colin Kaepernick in year 2 went to the Super Bowl. Carson Wentz in year 2, 11-2 until he got hurt. That team ended up going to the Super Bowl, winning it without him. Patrick Mahomes in year 2, 12-4. went to overtime of the AFC Championship game. Andrew Luck, year 2, 11-5, won a playoff game, then lost to the Patriots. Like, in today's NFL, if you are this level of quarterback with this type of support, year 2 starts to be the window that is open for a championship. That's where I think the Browns are, where the expectations should be getting to the playoffs and being successful there.
There's also the example, though, of year 2 with Dak Prescott. So you have Dak comes out on fire year 1, but then opposing defenses start understanding what he does. They have more film on him. Is Baker more of an advantage from having spent a year playing because he took over for Tyrod so early under his belt, or at a disadvantage because now guys know how he plays, what his style is, you know, what he can and cannot do on the field?
There is a real thing as far as the scouting report. So that observation is dead on. Yes, they do have more information, but the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott was riding in the car going to a place. Where the Browns went, Baker Mayfield drove them.
Correct.
And based on talent, his talent will be even more evident as they move on. Dallas, their passing game, it didn't evolve until they got Amari Cooper. And they're still very, very conservative. We start talking about Dak needs to run the ball a little more for them to be. Baker Mayfield is one of the most accurate young quarterbacks that's ever come into this league. So, yeah, the league does have a book on him, but this guy right here, he's almost got a photographic memory, all right? So his ability to be able to understand a lot of concepts, that helped him in year number 1. But I think this is about everything that they have. And that's the Dolphins, the defense. They're going to be a solid special team. We were in Cleveland. The fans there are so excited. The biggest question is Freddie Kitchens. How does he manage Baker's second year? Because for me, there's going to be some opportunities where he's going to have to look Baker in the eye and be like, listen, I'm the head coach. Don't put the ball in jeopardy. Don't do these types of things. Now, talking to both of them privately, they have a very good relationship and there's a great deal of respect. But anytime you have a thoroughbred like Baker, especially in year number 2, 3, they think they know more than what they understand. It's up to that coach to be able to put the reins on him so that the team keeps going in the right direction.
And in this long-form piece Mina Kimes wrote, there were some other things where Baker reminded you he's a different cat. Like, he took shots at Giants fans really for no reason. I think he was really just trying to promote Odell and support Odell, but he is going to be a different, call him the first Zennial, I guess he's younger than millennial, Zennial quarterback empowered like this, where he is going to, he's going to push back on the head coach, push back on media members, do things that we are not accustomed to our franchise quarterbacks doing. I happen to love it. It could make Freddie Kitchens' job as a first-year head coach a little more difficult, but the talent is undeniable, and the potential for this Browns team is absolutely double-digit wins and a deep playoff run.
Look, he's unapologetic about his approach to life, his approach to other players in the league, but if they win and he can back it up, then it's the anti-Jalen Ramsey, which is what we saw last year.
Yeah, one thing that I've seen very few football players that get married earlier in their career and their career goes the other way. Typically, they become a little more dependable, stabilizing force. You have to go home and answer someone. You do media interviews. Your wife reads that type of stuff, sees it on TV, is able to question you. So for me, watch younger players when they get married in the NFL because they don't travel that much. They're at home, and I believe it stabilizes their life, makes them a lot more consistent. So let's watch Baker. Congratulations to him.
Just got married a couple weeks ago.
That's what happened to me. Married young, straightened me out. Good point, C.
All right, we're gonna.
What? Why y'all laughing?
I was doing great. The segment was doing great, and you had to throw a little something on the top.
Take a break. Coming up.
Don't throw fertilizer on when it's already a problem.
Hey, would it be a big mistake
fertilizer on seed
for the Thunder to hold on to Chris Paul next on FS1? Hey, you can always check us out on the Fox Sports channel on Sirius XM. We're back right after this.
Check us out. I got my glass on. Jenna got some bling bling on. That's a big diamond you got there.
Bling.
Can't hide that money, Jenna Wolf.
Nick got it for me.
Manny Pacquiao.